Hey guys, today I am bringing you a comic book reviews video. It's been a long time since I've done one of these videos, so I thought it's about time that I do one. And today I'm actually going to be getting caught up on the comics that I read in 2015. I've got 6 trades that I'm going to be reviewing today, so without further ado, let's get started. The first one I'm going to be talking about is The Fade Out, and this is actually a murder mystery that takes place in Hollywood in the 1940s. At first I felt pretty meh about it, but the more time that I spent away from this comic, the more I've realized that I really enjoyed it. The plot was for sure this comic's strongest point. It was very intriguing and obviously mysterious because it is a murder mystery. I really liked the tone of the story, and I also really liked the setting. 1940s, Hollywood, hello, amazing. I'll admit that the artwork was mediocre and definitely not my favorite. I've seen much better artwork. I definitely want to continue on with the series and see what else it has to offer. Then I read The Woods Volume 1, The Arrow, and The Woods Volume 2, The Swarm. I am going to be reviewing these together, but I will say that I liked the second volume much more than I liked the first volume. This is about a high school that is in some way transported into this fantasy-esque world, and they must learn to survive in this world that they've been put in. Like I said, I wasn't a massive fan of this first volume. I just felt like it wasn't a very strong beginning to the story, but volume 2 is much stronger when it comes to story and also character development. I highly recommend, if you read these, read them back to back because you'll get the full experience. This is one of those comic books that you read purely on an entertainment level. As for the writing, I loved all the characters and all their interactions, and I also am really liking where the story is going. I just feel like we need a little bit more detail as to what the heck is going on, which I'm sure I just have to be patient, and eventually we'll learn all about why they were transported into this world. I just wish information was being revealed a little bit sooner. I really loved the artwork a lot in this comic. It's kind of what drew me into this comic book at the start, and I will definitely be continuing on with this series. Then I read Low Volume 1, The Delirium of Hope, and I originally picked this up because Rick Remender is tied to it, and he is one of the creators of the Deadly Class series, which is one of my all-time favorite comic book series. So I thought, hey, maybe I'll enjoy this one, but unfortunately, I really didn't like this one. This story takes place in this like underwater world, and we follow this family who is attacked and just ripped apart. I will say that this world was really interesting, and that's something that I did enjoy about it. I will say that there were a few things that just kind of went over my head. I just overall had problems getting sucked into this story, and I know that they say it takes like 2 trades to really get used to a series and kind of get more sucked into it, but like I don't want to waste my time with Volume 2 just because I really didn't like Volume 1. It's just super confusing at times, and the story is really hard to follow. Now, I did really like the art style, which I know is a kind of an unpopular opinion. I've been seeing a lot of people throw out there that they didn't like the art style, but I personally really enjoyed it. I haven't really seen another art style like this in other comics, and I really appreciated that. But like I said, I just don't see myself continuing on with this series. Next, I've got Alex and Ada, and this takes place in a futuristic world. It's honestly a futuristic world that I would want to live in, and probably where our world is going to end up someday. The people are heavily reliant on technology within this comic. Our main character, Alex, seems to be very lonely, and his grandmother notices this, and so she orders him an android, and Ada is his android. And Alex begins to have feelings for this android. I know it sounds pretty weird, but it's honestly such an interesting and also funny comic book. And it also kind of goes in this deep place, which I wasn't expecting at all, but the story is still full of humor. I was laughing my butt off right from the start. That grandma though, she is nuts, and I love her so much. This isn't one of those high intensity action-packed stories. It's a very slow going story, but I kind of appreciated that about this story because a lot of the comic books that I do read are very like action-packed, lots going on, crazy madness, and this one was kind of more of just like a simple, easygoing plot. I will say that the art style is pretty basic. The coloring itself is pretty toned down. You don't see a lot of vibrant, striking colors like in most of the comic books that I show on my channel. But overall, I really liked this, and I will definitely be continuing on with this series. And finally, the last comic book that I'm going to be talking about today is Witches. In this book, we follow a family that is constantly on the move because these creatures are following them wherever they go. I've never read anything like this. It's very dark and creepy. I liked that the story wasn't only about these crazy creatures, but there was also some kind of family issues that were going on, like the dad being an alcoholic and the daughter being bullied in school. There was just like a lot of issues going on, so it wasn't only this like crazy story, but there's also like some normal issues happening. I was just pleasantly surprised by the story. There's a lot of twists and some nice shock factor moments within it. Again, with this one, I just didn't really like the art style. There's this weird, unnecessary texture over all of the images and all of the panels, and I just don't understand why it's there. I found it to be very distracting, and it really took away from my enjoyment of the story. I feel like I wouldn't have minded the art style had that texture overlay not been there. I'm definitely interested in picking up the next volume and kind of seeing where this story goes. So those are all the comic book reviews I have to share with you guys today. You guys should let me know down below if you have read any of these comics and what you thought of them, or if you guys just have some recommendations for me. I'm always open to hearing your guys' recommendations. If you like this video, be sure to go to big thumbs up, and if you want to see more from me, be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye, chew. What just happened? Really hard to see if I'm even showing you guys good enough artwork. And they must learn to survive.